Hey, alright, welcome to the Tuesday show. My name is Ultra David.
And I'm James Chen. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving holiday weekend.
Wow, you threw a curveball.
How's everybody going? Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. Obviously, if you're from a foreign country, then you don't really care.
Boo!
But still, and then of course, if you want to celebrate it as Happy Indigenous People Day instead, that's also cool too. But
did you do anything for Thanksgiving?
I visited the parents, and I had to teach them how to use an iPad, so that was...
Boy. Never ends, huh?
Yeah.
I had Thanksgiving at my cousin's house, which is always cool.
Okay.
My aunt and uncle always have Thanksgiving dinner, and we went there. And,
cool. Nice.
They're chefs. They own an Italian restaurant. So we had Italian food. It's basically what we always do.
Dude, that sounds amazing, actually. I would be totally down for that.
There was regular turkey and stuff, but... and then for my nuclear family, we always have a Saturday Thanksgiving because it's hard to get us all together. Okay. We're in different places, and so it's hard to do that in the work week, like in midweek. So we always have it on Saturday. So it was cool. I ate a lot.
Yeah, that's the way it works. I'm trying to eat less right now to try to make up for that, but that doesn't always work out.
Just be glad I didn't bring the apple crisp. God. Apple crisp. Cinnamon rolls, homemade cinnamon rolls, 2 homemade cheesecakes, lemon and regular, homemade cookies, chocolate chip with and without nuts. What else did we have?
Oh, man.
We had this horrible fruitcake, but everybody's got to have that. So.
Why? I mean, nobody likes fruitcake. And yet somehow everyone always wants to bring fruitcake. I never understand that.
There's got to be a big fruitcake lobby out there. That's the only way to understand these things. All right, let's talk about video games. So we're going to talk about what is real Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Real SF.
I think that's kind of my fault that this is a conversation.
What is real Street Fighter? We'll talk about that. That's a totally real, legit topic.
Exactly.
NuckleDu has unfortunately dropped out of Capcom Cup. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about sort of the solution to that.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the Rivalries issue that just blew up in the NRS scene yesterday, and weighed in on by one Edward Boone. And we'll talk about our wish list, or maybe what we expect to see, probably more, from the EVO Games lineup. We'll talk about budget tournament results.
Yeah.
MvCI, second DLC. A lot of crap happened. And especially because we weren't here last week on account of I was sick after having traveled 7 weekends in a row.
Right. The funny thing, though, is that these 4 main topics that we have here that aren't standard, aren't the standard results or whatever like that, all happened this last week.
That's true, actually.
Like, none of this is actually 2 weeks old. This is all current, so...
You're right.
So, yeah. Lots of stuff to talk about.
Well,
yeah, this is all High Fight's fault. It's so great. Okay, let's talk about this. So, I mean, the thing about it is, a lot of people have gone to this point again because this is cyclical in history. This is the circle of fighting game life of this game isn't real Street Fighter, and so High Fight just put up a poll, almost kind of a trolley poll that said, which one is real Street Fighter? And it had Super Turbo, it had USF4, it had Alpha 3, and it had Third Strike listed there. And I was like, okay, you know what? I don't think any of these are real Street Fighters. So I'm just going to click on Super Turbo because it's my favorite game, right? So I click on Super Turbo and Third Strike's winning. And I'm like, Third Strike is the least Street Fighter game out of all the Street Fighters. So I quoted that and I posted it. And that just started the biggest shitstorm. Holy crap. I had no idea that it was going to go to that length. But you know what? I will say one thing. I have to give Javits credit.
Okay.
Javits says, I love Third Strike, but I can never talk about it because it's like bringing up religion and politics when you're with your relatives.
Yeah.
And I'm going to abide by that now. I'm just not going to talk about Third Strike anymore. Because, look, I said it's the most different. It's the most un-Street Fighter-y of Street Fighters, right? And everyone got mad at me.
Yeah.
Everyone got mad at me. And it's funny because most of the people who love Third Strike hate the other Street Fighters.
Yeah.
Should be a compliment to them, right?
Okay, I guess.
Should be a compliment to them. And I didn't say that was a bad thing.
Of course, yeah.
But But to be fair, I've been very critical of the game on social media in the past. So when I say something, like that, it definitely sounds like I'm shitting on the game. You know what I mean? Just because of my past history. So I don't blame people for that interpretation coming from me at all, because I have that history. But, I still, even after all this conversation, to me, it's still the least Street Fighter-y game. But the question is there such thing as a real Street Fighter?
That's the issue.
That's the main question.
Well, when you say that none of the games in that poll were real Street Fighter, are you saying that because you think there's some other game that is more real Street Fighter, or is it because that concept is just a canard and doesn't really exist?
It's bunk. There's no such thing as a real Street Fighter. Like, yeah, Super Turbo maybe is where it started, but Jesus Christ, you can hit buttons like a mofo in Super Turbo, and there's like no consequence. Yeah, there's whiff punishing. People do whiff punish, but it's difficult, not. Like Chun-Li low forward, it's not happening, right? Cammy low forward, you're not with. No, I don't. I've never gotten whiff punished out of that move. I've never gotten whiff punished out of that.
As Zangief, I just have to guess and stick out a sweep and hope it works. Yeah, there's no whiff punishing.
It's a trade. Right. You're just trying to trade. Yeah. So there is no such thing as a real Street Fighter, in my opinion. So I just don't think that there's really anything to go by. You know what I mean? Yeah. And in fact, I am happy that the Street Fighter series between the iterations has varied so drastically compared to most other games. Yeah. Like Tekken has been very consistent throughout. Right. And yes, they've obviously added a bunch of systems.
Some changes, of course.
You know, Smash Brothers has been relatively the same, but they changed things. And so if you talk to Tekken players or Smash players, they would just be like, they would crucify me for saying stuff like that.
Especially about Smash. Oh, yeah, boy, I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. But
yeah, right. I know. I'm saying that because I'm expecting to be crucified. I wanted to be crucified for that.
Mission accomplished.
But you know what? I do believe that the Street Fighter games vary drastically between the iterations, which are 2, Alpha, 3, 4, and 5. And I like that. And I'm happy about that. And it's a good thing that they're unique.
I'm with you, man. When we knew that Street Fighter V was coming out, but before we knew what it was, people were asking, do you want to see parries back? Do you want to see focus attack back?
Yeah,
No. I just wanted to see a new game. That was what was most important to me.
Yeah.
And they delivered, right? Street Fighter V is not Street Fighter 4, and it's not Street Fighter 3, right? It's different, which is a very important goal. I like that they are different games. Obviously, there are some commonalities.
Yes.
Right? Like, Street Fighter doesn't have air dashing.
Right.
Right? I mean, it's like, it tends to be a more grounded game.
Right. I mean, the reason why I can still say that there's no such thing as a real Street Fighter and still quantify Third Strike as being the most un-Street Fighter-y of games is because there's still something about Street Fighter that makes it distinctly different than Tekken, than Guilty Gear, than KOF, than Darkstalkers, than those like if you want to go the full 9 yards, full 9 yards, then all the fighting games are different, and there's no genre. But we all know that's not true. Tekken has a distinct feel.
Sure.
Virtua Fighter even has a distinct feel. Right. Smash has a distinct feel. All the games have a distinct feel. So there still is something that can be considered core-ish Street Fighter.
Yeah, I just think you can't. It doesn't get very far beyond generalities. Like there's not an air dash, right?
Yeah.
12 has an air dash, right? Okay,
right. Yeah. Even Oni has an air dash, Oni, right? Yeah.
But like almost, it's not a game engine thing, right? They don't really have that. It's a 2D fighter. It tends to be more grounded, right?
There's no super jumping. There's no air combos.
Well, Third Strike has super jumps, but
high jump.
Yeah, right. There's not a big sort of vertical play field. Yeah. It's just it's on the ground more or less. Yeah, I don't think that you can get very far beyond just very basic generalities in terms of what Street Fighter is. But yeah, I guess to me, I think Alpha 3 is the most unique. I do think it's between those two, Alpha 3 or Third Strike. It's basically one of those two. And for me, the reason it's Alpha 3 is because Alpha 3 has a lot of things that were just one-offs. That didn't come back. Isms, right? Nobody really else.
Counter launching things.
Yeah,
I guess that did come back in 5
eventually came back.
Bit,
but like air flip recovery and like
air flip recovery
blue blocking
is the main
and
thing.
Damage reduction and it had its own unique stuff.
Yeah.
And the way that some of the stuff worked out, resulting in infinite juggles, that kind of thing, doesn't really exist in other Street Fighters.
Yes.
So stuff like that makes it more unique to me.
Uh-huh.
Definitely not bad. It's not my favorite game, but I certainly get why people like it. I think it's really creative and interesting. So that to me makes it more unique. And in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, I find a lot of similarities with SF5 in particular.
Yeah.
And in SF4 too. I feel like it basically created the sort of whiff-punishing footsies game.
I agree with that.
And that's been huge in SF4 and SF5. I think its pressure is very much like how SF5 ended up doing it. I think its option selects were kind of what then led to SF4 and SF5 option selects. I think its neutral game feels dangerous in a way that like SF5's feels dangerous. So I feel like there's a lot of similarities there, but it was a big break from the alphas and from Street Fighter 2 for sure.
Yeah.
And parry is a unique thing, right? Like parry doesn't really exist in any other Street Fighter. Ryu has a parry. And that's not, no, obviously it's very very different. So that thing did make big differences, right? It makes it so you could jump more often. It makes it so there's crazier mix-ups in some ways,
and it affects every situation. It's
all
pervasive,
all over the place.
And also another thing is like, and this is what people have. This is what Third Strike players have told me, is that your tier placement in that game is almost entirely based on how badly you can blow up parries. Right, so Ganejin kills it. Chun-Li has the crouching medium kick or Kara throw. It's very heavy mix-up. Makoto's got crazy command throw. Dudley has overhead low that leads into the same damage combo. Yurin has unblockables, and the crappy characters like Remy and Sean and and 12. They don't have real good ways to take advantage of the high-low parry. That's how pervasive the parry system is to me in that game, is that your literal placement in the tiers is based on how well you can blow up parries.
I mean, it's certainly part of it. Chun-Li, it's important to have moves that can be high parried or down parried and have that be a real mix-up. When you're playing against Oro, you're only worried about high parry moves and neutral. You only have to press forward, you don't have to press down. Right? Things like that. Q basically sucks, he doesn't have anything.
He has no low confirms, right? He's got nothing.
And at the same time, if Q gets a parry, if he's not point blank, he does stand medium kick. Right? Or if you're super ready for it, but not like, exactly. You don't get like a big damage combo. So how you use parry is a huge part of the game, of course. Right. So it's like anything, right? Like any game mechanic is like that. Different characters take advantage of it better or worse. But certainly parry is really important and is unique. So I get why people think that Street Fighter 3 Third Strike is a unique game.
What's interesting is, like I said, because when I said it, and obviously I've been critical of the game in the past, despite the fact that I respect the game. I just know I don't like parries, but I still enjoy watching it. Yeah. I'll still play it casually. I still play it casual and everything like that. And you know what? A lot of people probably don't think I know anything about the game. Like, I still remember when I was talking about charge partitioning one time, and Sanchez was like, "You can't charge partition." I was like, I'm going to jump on stream right now. And I did everything. And I was like, this is how you charge partition. He was like, okay, can you do Alex stand strong into super? Stand strong into super. He's like, okay.
That's not so hard.
It's fast. It's just fast. Right, yeah. And I was like, okay. But I know so much about Third Strike. I'm not talking from this point of view that I don't know about the game, right? So, like I said, my biggest problem is I just don't like pairing, because to me it takes away the anti-air, the fireball, and also it adds a little bit of, like, how many times have people parried something by accident and killed it and just been like, you know what, I'm the best, and don't admit it? Like, everybody's done that.
Everybody has done that.
Right? And so there's a lot of little luck factors in pairing and stuff like that. So I just feel like it's kind of a fundamentally flawed system, because I even had a conversation with MV Silent Shadow about how you would balance parries if we could do it now. And there's just no way to do it unless you turn into a button, but then it's like, right? And so it's kind of a system that there's really no way to balance properly within the context of the game.
I think it's balanced nicely. I think some of the characters in that game are balanced poorly. Right? It's the character's problem.
Yeah, okay.
Q should probably not only have close waist. He can do stand medium kick or close jab into...
Stand medium kick should be super cancelable, dude.
Yeah, his two cancelable options into supers that actually combo are close medium kick and close jab. Probably he should have more than that. Jesus. Right? So it's a game, it's a character balance issue, I feel.
Right, yeah.
More than parry. But with parry, it's very hard to make other things work that are in other games. It's really hard to make zoning work.
Exactly.
It's hard.
Exactly.
It may be doable, but it's super tough.
Exactly.
So yeah, for sure, it makes the characters play a certain way. It enforces this kind of footsies range, which is what Third Strike's played.
And the other thing too is I do try to make that distinction that yes, I don't think Third Strike is a bad game. I mean, outside of balance, there's obviously balance issues in Third Strike. It's probably one of the least balanced Street Fighters, right? So, but outside of balance, I don't think Street Fighter 3 is a bad game. In fact, even during my phase of watching match videos to death during the days of, real media and all that stuff like that, it was Third Strike and Guilty Gear, which were the two games that I enjoyed watching the most. Japanese Third Strike tournaments are fun beyond reason.
Yes.
Beyond reason because they're all single elimination tournaments and anything can happen.
God, I hate it. Yeah.
But anything can happen. But so like I said, I acknowledge the game is really fun. I admit that it's not for me, that I just don't like parries because I like patterned kind of play and it kind of throws that off.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And that's a good thing because the parry system adds a kind of forced variance to the player that does not exist in any other fighting game, which is what makes it, that's what's cool about it. Plus, even though I can sit here and go for 5 hours about why I don't like parries, I will say this, that parries are the greatest emotional rewarding mechanic in a fighting game. Even though I think it's one of the worst mechanics in a fighting game because I just don't like the concept of it, right? But from an emotional reward standpoint, which is super important, in my opinion, to fighting games, it is probably the greatest fighting game mechanic ever put in. Because whenever you land it, you just feel so good. You feel so happy when you parry things.
For sure. Just when we were at Red Bull Battlegrounds, we were playing third, and I forgot who I was playing
Willie.
against.
You were playing Walter, not Willie, but Walter. Yeah.
Willie P. Walter, and he did toward medium kick overhead or something, and I was like, I see you. Here's a forward. Then I did 720, and I was like, bam, Gigas. And it was pretty sick. I thought that was pretty sick. So.
Trust me, I've been saying this about Third Strike for years.
This is an ancient argument. This is from early 2000s.
This is nothing new from me. Yeah. So trust me, nothing has changed recently. So I've been saying these things for years. So it has nothing to do with any sort of trying to stay relevant or whatever like that. So.
I mean, again, I think Alpha 3 is more of its own beast than any other Street Fighter game because it just has things that never existed again. But
with regard to Alpha 3, I feel like it's right behind.
Yeah, it's one of those two.
It's one or the other.
For sure, it's one of those two.
Other.
Anyway, I think this is a funny topic because it comes up every time there's a new Street Fighter game.
Yes, yeah.
So this is like the more important point, is that it comes up every time. And furthermore, we predicted it. Right? Yeah. Do you remember this?
Yeah,
2 years ago, saying when Street Fighter V comes out, for sure, people, regardless of whether it's the best or the worst game ever, either way, people will be saying that it is not real Street Fighter. They will want to go back to SF4. SF4 was the best game ever. Alternatively, Third Strike was the best. Alpha 2 was the because it happens every single time, and there's no deviation from that. Right. I think a big part of that is that Street Fighter games are quite unique from each other, right? But even on top of that, I'm not really sure why, because other games are pretty different in some situations, but even still, you don't really hear this level of it's not real X.
Right, yeah. Well, it's because, like I said, I don't feel like the other games vary as much.
Like MK9 to MKX was quite different, I would say.
Okay.
And there were definitely people who say MK9's better.
Right,
but that happens for sure. But you don't hear MKX isn't real Mortal Kombat. You don't hear that. You hear MK9 was better. You don't hear it.
Yeah. I just think that because there really is no real Mortal Kombat at this point in time.
Because there were 15 years where it was a horrible game.
Yeah.
It was always terrible.
To be honest, to Street Fighter's credit, I guess that's kind of the legacy that it has, is that people will argue about it, that there really hasn't been a true bombed Street Fighter V series. I mean, in my opinion, saying that the game isn't particularly Street Fighter-y is not a compliment. You know what I mean? Like, it's not an insult. It's not a compliment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, saying you play like Street Fighter isn't a compliment necessarily. You know what I mean? Like, right now, my favorite fighting game is Tekken. Right? I'm enjoying the hell out of Tekken right now. But like, saying that the game is not Street Fighter doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean?
It's not a negative or a good.
It's not a negative thing. Right. And the funny thing is, like Third Strike players. Some people are saying it's different in other places, but here in SoCal, the Family Fun crew, the players who played Third Strike didn't play anything else. They never played anything before that. They never played anything after that.
There's a huge contingent like that. That's true.
And they stopped playing. And it's because the game is so different. It's so unique from everything else. Like, those players just won't play any of the other Street Fighter games because, I mean, like, the fact that Kai came... And I kind of blame Kai for my sort of anti-Street Fighter Third Strike-ness because he always talks about how great it is in front of me and I just roll my eyes.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
But, like, he came up to me and was like, when Street Fighter 4 first came out, I was like, look how stupid this game is. I'm like, why? If Balrog does super and I let go of the controller, I keep blocking.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, wait, why is that a problem? It's like, I keep blocking. That's dumb. I'm like... You know, Third Strike is the only game that doesn't do that, right? Yeah. Even Second Impact and New Generations, that happened.
Right.
And so, like, I don't know. It's just, like, weird that they only know that game. You know what I mean? And so, to me, that's even more kind of examples of why that game is so different. Because even the people who play it don't play the other games. You know what I mean? It's...
Yeah, that's true. I think that we would be saying that about Alpha 3 if anybody played Alpha 3 anymore. Oh, dead game.
Dude, you know what? You know what the worst thing about it is, too? Is, like, I love Alpha 3 to death.
I know you do.
I love Alpha 3 to death. And if you told me, let's do an Alpha 3 revival tournament, I'd be like, no. I can't... That's the thing, is I love the game to death, but Crouch Cancel Infinites have destroyed that game. There's nothing you can do. And Vism is stupid.
Bummer, yes.
I really hate the
not
Vism
well
system
balanced.
in there. Yeah, I really don't like it.
So look, there's no real thing as real Street Fighter. That's stupid. What people are really saying is, I preferred X game. I think Vaya was exactly right when you said whatever game you come up on, if it's Street Fighter, that to you is real Street Fighter forever.
Yep.
That makes sense to me. I think that's totally right. But it's just... I wish people would quit skirting around with it's not or it is real Street Fighter. What they really mean is, I like this other game more. That's all. Just say it. Yep. You prefer Street Fighter 4. That's fine.
Dude, Japan held They just held an AISM only tournament. Yo, I need to go look that up. That sounds like that would be hype. I really want to see that. So
that's all it is. Just say that you like another game. Just be honest. Nobody's going to be... Well, people will be mad, but I will be less mad.
Commander Pepper says, my thoughts on how to balance or change Alpha 3. 1, I would get rid of Crouch Cancel Infinites, right?
Well, of course.
2, I would change it so that custom combos are quarter circle forward times 2 into button presses.
Yeah.
That's all I do. That's like the core of my balance changes outside of actual specific character tweaks.
Why the... quarter circle forward?
Because the only reason why custom combos are stupid is because you can instantly react to everything. It's like throw a fireball custom, go right through, kill you.
I think there's more stupid.
If you jump a custom combo, I can juggle you. Jump custom combo, I can react with a custom combo.
Right.
That's why you played Vism Zangief instead of A Zangief. The only reason why you played V Zangief is because when you fought against Akuma or against Sakura, you could never jump at them if they had a full bar unless you had a full bar. Because they would custom and you would custom. But now if you had quarter circle forward 1, it would take them much more reaction and mental preparation. It's not just, I'm playing footsies, you jumped at me, boom! And I can anti-air you, it would take more reaction. And then if they activate, the other person couldn't counter-activate because they don't have time to put in the motions because the freeze is, that...
You don't think there should be like less damage? Maybe that's character balance issue.
Maybe character balance, and maybe I would just increase the scaling on it. Or, no, you know what I would actually do? I would just decrease the timer on it.
Yeah.
Because they last too long.
That makes sense.
This is the worst problem about... Like, as much as I hate Alpha 2 custom combos, it's like custom. Boom, da, 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 da.
Yeah, it's like 4 seconds.
Yeah, but alpha is like bomb, shimpuket, pow, shimpuket, boom, shimpuket, boom, hadoo, pa, hadoo, pa, hadoo, pa, hadoo, and you're just like, God, please stop now. You know what I mean? So I would just change the timer on it so that it would be. But the thing is, again, balancing games, I don't want to change too much of the game. You know what I mean? I do not want to change too much of the game. So those would be the main system things. Maybe I would make it so Xism doesn't take as much chip damage, but even lowering the timer on the Vism would fix that a little bit. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Anyway, quit talking about real Street Fighter. I wish I could go back in time and not have said that just now, because it's a complete waste of breath. But I think people should not say real Street Fighter anymore. They're not gonna.
I agree.
It'll always happen.
I agree.
But they should not say that anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Get on with it. Get over it. Let's move on.
No such thing as a real Street Fighter.
Yeah.
No such thing.
Yeah, there's no real Street Fighter. Every Street Fighter game is and should be different.
Yes. And like I said, the fact that they are willing to go that different between games, I think makes Street Fighter special.
I like it.
And I think it's one of the coolest things about it. So what would you say, though, about the whole concept of, like, new characters? Because people started bringing that up. Like, they liked Street Fighter 3 because it was all new characters, and they had to put in Ryu and Ken because everybody was mad and all that stuff like that.
Chun-Li came back for a third strike.
Would you like it if every series of Street Fighters was a whole new set of cast?
Honestly, it doesn't matter that much to me either way.
Because they're just functions in the end, right?
More or less, yes. That is actually my position. But that said, I like the returning characters because I know other people care about it.
Yeah.
If we can get more people playing a game, cool with me. But I don't personally care.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is games like Virtua Fighter, Tekken, and stuff like that, they thrive on the fact that a lot of characters come back. People are still mad that Leia's not in Tekken 7, for example. And it brings people in. Street Fighter 4, everyone got hyped for it because they were glad to see Guile and Blanca and Honda and all those characters back. So I like what Street Fighter 5 did. I like that they put in some characters. They left out even some of the classics. They brought up some new characters, and I especially like the fact that in Season 2 they were like, you know what, screw it, all brand new characters except for
weirdos too.
Yeah.
Which I like. If they're going to be new characters, well, either way, I want new characters to be weirdos, and I want returning characters to be made weirder.
I mean,
that's
honestly,
what I like.
Honestly, out of Abigail, like, they're really not that weird.
You don't think? Well, maybe not the character itself, but certainly Manat's playstyle is used.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like Ed has really unique.
Yeah. Okay, you're talking about gameplay style. I thought you meant like character design and stuff like. Okay. Gotcha.
Colleen is definitely a weirdo in that respect.
Yes, agreed.
All right.